This video is sponsored by Skillshare.
If you want to learn how to build these simple drawer boxes and the way that I approach it, then just keep watching. I'm going to show you exactly step by step and how you can do it. I want to focus mainly on how to build these drawer boxes and not so much on dimensions and size. This is tailored to my specific table, and these drawer boxes may be too small, too wide, not wide enough for you, so let's get started. I will be using several different tools in this video, and I will have them linked for you, starting with my circular saw and rip cut. I find this easier for me to rip down larger sheets of plywood before ripping them down further to my desired dimensions. I always like to check to see which way is best to cut down a full sheet to get the most cuts out of one with the least amount of waste and scraps. Once I've ripped those down to manageable pieces, then I'll move on to my table saw to make the smaller cuts. Of course, you could continue to use a circular saw if you don't have a table saw. Once I have all of the top and bottom and side pieces cut for the box, I create pocket holes only on the top and bottom boards. This is because I will be setting them in the inside with the side pieces sitting on the outside. Depending on the size of the board will determine on how many pocket holes I create. I just try to make sure and have them as evenly spaced out as possible to distribute the tension evenly. And I also don't try to create too many because it's not necessary. I always use wood glue to secure everything before adding the screws. Here you can see what I meant by having the sideboards on the outside as opposed to the inside. Once I've attached both sides to the top or bottom board, then I add the remaining top or bottom board, depends on how you look at it, and also making sure that the screws on the inside of the box as opposed to the outside, because you won't see the holes once the drawers are in. I repeated this until I had two simple box frames. Next, for additional support, I ripped down 4 2-inch strips of plywood to add to the backs. You could totally use 1x2s, but I had plenty of plywood left over, so that's what I used. I made a single pocket hole on each end in order to attach them. Make sure that they sit flush with the back. Next, it's time to cut out all the pieces needed for the drawer boxes. These are more DIY friendly and don't require any dados or anything like that, just pocket holes. I've made a video on how to measure spacing to create drawer boxes, so if you want to see how, be sure to check that out. I also have another video that explains how to get the measurements for each board that makes up the drawer box. This type of DIY box, I prefer to attach the sides to the front or back piece, followed by placing the bottom board in place, attaching the remaining front or back piece, and then securing the bottom board. I've been DIYing for closer to 3 years now, and it's always amazing for me to see the things that I've built and created on my own without any prior knowledge, except for my own personal research, trial and error. Although this past year I haven't done a whole lot of DIY because I've been busy living life and raising my two little humans, the itch to continue to learn more doesn't just go away, which is why I've been pouring a little more into learning some of my other hobbies like gardening. Now that spring is making its way out and summer is here, some of our work schedules are slower, kids are out of school, and so having more time to explore our passions and hobbies is more possible. Skillshare has helped me to learn so much in the gardening world. Not long ago, I had no clue that I could hand pollinate my squash plants for a better yield or what a pesky squash vine horror was. Skillshare is the largest online learning community for creatives with thousands of online classes led by experts across woodworking, time management, interior design, gardening, etc. I've been able to learn the importance of pollinators' roles in gardening through Tiffany Selvey's Gardening to Attract Beneficial Insects class. If I wake up early enough, I get to enjoy watching the bees working their way through my garden. Don't let your wanted hobbies and interests and passions go to a waste. Instead, invest in learning and diving deeper into them through Skillshare. The first 500 people to use my link in the description will receive a 1-month free trial of Skillshare. Don't wait, get started today. For these boxes, I am using side mount drawer slides I ordered off of Amazon. Placement of the drawer slides is pretty simple. I always like to add my spacers, in this case 3/4 of an inch. I make sure to open and line the drawer slide to the edge of the box and secure it in place. Then I'll place the drawer box inside the box, line up the drawer slide to the edge of the drawer box, and secure the first hole. Once both sides are secure, I'll slide the drawer box out, secure the second hole, and then pull the drawer out completely before securing the third. This avoids me having to measure and mark anything and always gives me a perfect install. I will sometimes also use a small level to make sure everything is level so I won't have any issues with the drawer sliding in and out. I wanted these to have a full overlay, so I made sure to measure and cut my drawer fronts to cover the entirety of the box, taking into account the space needed between each drawer. After I create the hardware holes, I can go ahead and install the fronts. To install the drawer fronts, I place a spacer at the bottom of the drawer and have the front sit on top of it. Then I'll drive a screw from the front into the drawer box until it's secure. I'll then use a nail gun to add a few brad nails to hold the drawer front into place. I remove the screw and then create a hole all the way through before adding the hardware. For me personally, I secure the boxes to the work table with some brad nails, and that's it. This took me only 2 days to build and only a few hours each day. This is definitely something that could be built in a single day if you're able to work uninterrupted, which of course is not an option for me at the moment. I hope you found this video helpful. If you did, don't forget to give it a thumbs up, subscribe for more DIY content, and in the meantime, check out my other videos I think you might like. I love y'all, be kind, and I'll see y'all in the next video. Bye.